The Commonwealth is an organisation that comprises 53 independent states, many of them in the developing world. Its Secretary-General told a conference of parliamentarians that their countries were particularly vulnerable to the effects of climate change.
The Commonwealth knows painfully well about climate change. It sees it in shrinking rainforests, made worse by unsustainable logging practices in Asia and the Pacific, in dwindling fish stocks in the Atlantic and other oceans, in a thawing of the tundra in northern Canada, in encroaching deserts in northern Nigeria, in flooded lowlands in Bangladesh, and in rising sea levels around Tuvalu and the Maldives.
Looking ahead to the Copenhagen summit, Mr. Sharma said it was imperative that developed nations fund measures to combat global warming.
One of the greatest concerns, not just in climate change, but across the sustainable development agenda, is delivery on international funding commitments. While action plans have been agreed, the financial support to make these a reality has not shown the same progress. We see talk the talk, but less walk the walk. For Copenhagen to be a success, it needs to deliver quantified emission limitation or reduction objectives for industrialized countries, clarity on national actions by developing countries, and meaningful levels of readily accessible financial and technological support for developing countries.
Speaking for Africa, Nigeria's Ewa Eleri said poorer nations were entitled to greater access to energy as long as it was sustainable.
The poor has a right to develop. The poor has a right to scale up their energy services, their energy use. The difference is, are we going to help poor people scale up their energy services in a sustainable manner, or in a crude, emitting, inconvenient, and health-destructive manner?
The chairman of the UK's Committee on Climate Change said they were committed to big cuts in greenhouse gases.
We are, as a committee, technologically neutral. We are not believers that you have to back this technology and others, but we do believe there is a shape to the probable way forward, and the shape is that what we're probably going to do is radically decarbonise electricity production and then apply electricity to parts of our economy where we don't apply electricity today, for instance to surface transport and probably in future also to heat.
Britain plans to cut greenhouse gas emissions by at least 30% by 2020 and by as much as 80% by 2050.